Welcome to another episode of
What is?
I'm Allison.
I'm Sheri.
Voice of the people.
Big up on yourself, we reach back here now, we circle back into the thing, Welcome to the new season. Things will be a little bit different. We're going to have a co-host, different co-hosts passing through. And today we have Sheri. She's a member of the Diaspora.
Diaspora.
The Diaspora.
The Diaspora.
But also, we want to just shout out M-Boogie for helping us in season 1. She really spiced up the thing and made the thing nice.
Nice.
So go and big up yourself and do your thing. Hey, you're goodie.
Big up you, the spirit of Earl.
And it's big up you and the spirit of Earl. Blessings always. Big up M-Boogie.
Who's Earl?
Her dad.
Oh, big up Earl. Spirit of Earl.
All right, so whole heap of things happening. It's the Olympic season. Jamaica has officially started their campaign really in track and field today. So the 100 meters, different events happening today into tomorrow and Sunday. Voice of the People has been up since 2 o'clock this morning.
Thank you for your service.
I wasn't able to get up to watch them heats there in them hours.
The thunderstorm was too nice.
Yeah, but, I wasn't feeling so 100.
I was up. During the storm, I was hoping that the light didn't go. But I was up and front and center in Paris.
So how it go? How is it? How are we performing so far?
So far, we are looking good. So far, for the 100 meters, all 3 ladies are through to the semifinals.
And the 3 ladies are?
And the 3 ladies are Tia Clayton, Sasha Lee Forbes, who replaced Sharika, and the good icon, Shelley and Fraser Price.
Right. Yes, and
so for those of us who haven't really been well, we shouldn't talk so loud, so we haven't been following. Where's Elaine?
Yes, so leading up to the Paris Olympics, the national trials, Elaine was set to campaign for Paris, but she picked up an injury and decided not to.
But she was like she's the first one because Sharika is not in there either.
in the 100 meters.
In the 100 meters.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Sharika picked up a small cramp. They said they're not calling it a major injury.
Okay.
It's a cramp.
All right.
But she and her coach decided that she's not going to contest the 100 meter. She's going to do the 200, which she's better at. Which I understand because to do the double, that's 6 rounds on a slight injury. And to fight and compete in the 100 and then not at your best in your pet event doesn't seem
Not
fair.
ideal.
Not ideal. So that is good.
So we only have one veteran in the 100 meter.
Yes, and some youngins
And
who
the
are
new-
showing,
The new generation.
The new
who are
generation
the
putting
new
their
generation.
foot to the track and say, yes, we
Yes.
are here. Jamaica is still here.
Yeah. So we wanted to just kind of highlight members of the diaspora. Sheri has been overseas since what year? What year did you go off?
Oh my gosh. 2001?
2001. So she really cementing this
That's
diet.
23 years.
Yes.
I've now lived in the US longer than I lived in Jamaica.
All right. So you're official citizen.
Yeah.
You're official American
it's been
citizen.
a minute.
But still a member of the diaspora. So what is it that you do, Sheri?
What do I do? At work?
Yes. What you do for work?
What I do for work? Well, I am an associate professor of English literature with a concentration in African diaspora literature. And I'm also currently working as an associate dean for a large college of arts and science in Missouri.
Associate dean. Okay, so an associate dean?
Associate dean, not the dean. I'm one of the little deans.
Okay,
Not the big
There's
dean.
a big dean.
It's a big deal over there.
I mean,
No,
no.
it's a big deal. Don't say that.
Well, I mean, it's, yeah, you know what, like, it's so they grow us, right? Like you're supposed, you're not really supposed to make a big deal about
What it is that you do, no
what
matter
it
the
is that you
achievement.
do, how you're successful you are. But I mean,
It's all right.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a big deal. We will make a big deal about it.
But also, before we forget, for those of you who do not know Sheri is very much from St. Thomas.
St. Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much from. And sad to say, I cannot say Carpe Diem, but she's from the parish.
Ad Astra per Aspera.
That's for those of you unaware. That's
I'm outnumbered today, guys.
Immaculate.
I'm outnumbered today.
Conception.
Immaculate, always an immaculate lady. This one is an immaculate lady too.
No, I never go Calabar here. I know Calabar, me go. I know JC, I know KC.
This one did go too. So,
Yeah.
it's true.
So, all right. So, literature is your that's how you make a living, through literature.
Yeah, for the first decade of my career, I taught and researched literature from the Caribbean, literature from written by Black writers in Britain and in West Africa.
Okay. I've seen like maybe a couple of weeks ago that you were in London teaching Gothic, American Gothic. What is that?
Oh, not American Gothic. The Center for the Study of Gothic.
Oh, just Gothic. Okay, not
in
American Gothic. Sorry.
at the University of Sheffield, I got invited to teach a course on Caribbean Gothic there. So it was an institute that had I see your hand, but let me. It was an
Mimis.
Finish first.
It was an institute that had a couple of different seminars with a couple of different instructors, and I got lucky to be invited to do the seminar on Caribbean Gothic that I taught for 5 days to seven students.
Caribbean Gothic. Sorry, I got that wrong. It's not American Gothic. You do research American Gothic.
I do. I mean, yeah, I got American Gothic, but American Gothic written by non-white writers.
Gotcha. So, I stand corrected.
so
go ahead,
Mimis.
voice of the people.
Mimis.
Yes.
Voice of the people?
Voice of the people.
Yeah.
Is going to represent the people now.
Okay, great.
When you say Gothic,
What I mean?
what you mean? Because me, I think
I was getting there, you know. Yeah, I was getting
heavy
to that
metal,
question.
Heavy metal?
music.
No.
that
Yeah,
no.
what is Gothic?
That kind of
Or
expression.
wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Yeah, what is Gothic, and then
Yeah.
what is Caribbean Gothic?
Gothic.
Yes.
So Gothic is a form of horror, where horror is a thing that is supposed to like make you feel anxious and afraid. Gothic is one of the genres of horror, and it's marked by, like, when you think about Gothic, because where Gothic came from was architecture, like an architectural style first, and so one of the features of the Gothic is like the haunted house. If you read a story or you watch a show and it have a haunted house, is Gothic, right?
American Horror Story.
Yeah. So it pull on those tropes, and it's all about making
Tropes.
tropes of unease and anxiety.
And tropes, mimis. And tropes mean like symbols and
yeah,
right, okay.
recurring patterns of
Okay.
things that are recognizable across a number
Got you.
of texts,
Okay,
right?
okay.
You know, a university lecture.
Yeah.
And so, like, Caribbean Gothic no, because, well, let me see, I learned something at the Institute where somebody came and they talked about how we really shouldn't be talking about the Gothic solely in terms of an orientation to, hey, if me start to go too deep.
Yeah, man,
into
go
this,
night,
I'm
man,
gonna
go
start
night.
here.
The show is called What Is.
What Is.
So
Well.
we'll learn. Yeah, we'll learn.
But if me go too far, you must stop me. So me learn a thing what the lady said, Rebecca Duncan say we always talk about the Gothic in terms of an orientation to Western European literature, Frankenstein,
Right, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
something there.
Yeah.
But what would happen if we think about the Gothic in a different kind of orientation, right? So anyway, that exists. But so far, we kind of talk about the ways that how Caribbean writing is often in conversation with the writing of the colonizer. So 18th century literature, Great Expectations, Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre, them something
The
there.
Duppy story part of it.
Yeah, the Duppy story part of it,
Okay.
right?
Got you.
Right? So like Jane Eyre with the woman in the attic where them think I dopey up in the attic, right? Where people like Jean Rhys who wrote White Sargasso Sea, which is the story of the mad woman in the attic and them kind of things.
Was that CXC or Cape?
CXC.
Okay.
Yeah, good. That's
One in a literature.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jean Rhys is one of the major Gothic authors, but it got all the way back to like the 19th century. One of the first ones was like Hammerland, the Obeah man, where it's about like an Obeah man. So things like in Caribbean Gothic, things like
so like the River Muma would be considered Caribbean Gothic. Because people, I mean, all right, all right. So maybe not the River Muma.
No, I don't think the River Muma would be considered.
Because I understand the River Muma. I understand the River Muma being somebody dark.
River Muma would be Gothic, or River Muma might appear in a Gothic text written by a non-white person from somewhere else where they want to cast things in the Caribbean as. So like back when you have slavery and all of these things and colonization, where they used to register people's anxiety and fear about all of these non-white people coming into the empire and what it mean and all of those things. The Caribbean used to be the place that writers and poets would use as the site of horror. Right, this would be the place that represent all of the frightening things because enslavement and miscegenation when masters fool around with them enslaved women and those kind of things and all of those anxieties. What does it mean when you have people who are not the same existing together, right? So River Muma, zombies, rolling calf, some of these things, horror. That's more horror. It depends on the text that it's in. But these little figures, if it's in the hands of non-Jamaican or non-Caribbean writers, them going to be like villainized and shown us. But then like people like Jean Rhys flip it.
Yes.
Right? And it becomes empowering.
So the Jane Eyre era, White Witch of Rosal would be considered
that same like a little bit later, but
same thing.
Yes, the Lisa did that same kind of thing where they you definitely get that one day.
But so this is not you pay attention. Carpe diem.
Yes,
The Morant Bay High School.
Yes. The Morant Bay, big up.
Yeah. So Professor Harrison, because we're in a class now, what is in a class today. So the film that I worked on very long time ago.
Oh, totally Gothic.
Totally
Gothic because of the little theater, right? The little theater was even like the architectural structure of it, the shadows, the lighting, the hauntedness of it, the unease. You did even do like a throwback to some soldier days and that kind of thing.
Right.
So Gothic is also about how the past erupts in the present, how things you thought were behind you comes back up. So like, there's a film that I really like, Bustamante's La Llorona, which is I think a Guatemalan film about when the La Llorona, or the crying woman, is the ghost of an indigenous woman who was a part of a massacre in the mountainside when them going and them massacre people, and she make her way into the town to the general who was in charge of all of that to haunt his house. Right. So like that kind of stuff is how disempowered people come back in these mysterious ways, whether as specters or ghosts or whatever, to exact revenge and retribution and these things.
That is definitely Gothic. Okay.
Yeah. So like, your ghost figure in proscenium will come up after forget the new girl, right? Like that kind of reckoning is a thing that is also like reckoning with the past, and how the present has to reckon with the past is also a really big part of Gothic literature.
But I mean, long time ago, maybe in like 20 for the listeners and viewers who are not aware, probably almost 10 years ago, a group of my friends and we worked on a film called Proscenium, and we shot it in the Ward Theatre. And maybe we didn't know at the time that it was Gothic. We did just think it's a dopey show. Jamaicans call it dopey show. So, but you know, I didn't know that we were actually working in the Gothic. Yeah.
Well, you know, these things kind of in your mind, like when you think about something that's haunted, what's always haunted?
Like,
a house.
Yeah, a building, yeah.
A building is always haunted. And so like, and I mean, the Gothic don't always need a building. There are other ways that it works, but that's one of the major tropes.
Okay.
Haunted houses.
Okay. You're also a published author.
Right, one and two thing, yeah.
Yes. She's a big deal. She's
I have
not
a book.
small fries.
I have a book. I have articles and book chapters out in the world.
What's the name of your book?
Difficult Subjects, Negotiating Sovereignty in Anglophone Caribbean Literature.
St. Thomas. You hear that? That's all me here. St. Thomas.
So, you know, people talk about books and people talk about books. It's not like one of them books where you go and you pick
It's
up.
not a storybook.
It's not a storybook. Like, academics write books for themselves. Like, it's not really.
What's it about?
It is about 20th century Caribbean narratives, Jamaican narratives, and about the parts of those narratives or the books in that set of narratives that don't conform to some of the ideal ways we think about nation, to some of the ideal ways we think about being Jamaican and Jamaicanness. And so like one of the things that I write about is The Harder They Come. And I write about The Harder They Come from Elsa's perspective.
Okay.
And so like Elsa is the partner of the hero and she kind of sell him out.
Gotcha.
And inside of the national narrative, you're not really supposed to sell out the hero, but among the things that you think about is like, what are her motivations? Why would she need to make sure that a particular status quo gets replaced and, you know, that he gets cast out of the story? So.
Yeah, but like what I've been noticing with you do a lot of research around Marlon James' work as well.
Yeah, working on a book on Marlon James's literature now.
You're working on a second book.
A second book, yeah.
I just sent Thomas me here.
Like working on a second book.
So is it? Do you have a title yet?
Currently it's called After the Beginning Ends.
Okay.
You
know, I forgot too much into it to give us too much if it's.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's what it's called now as a placeholder. When you publish books, sometimes them change the title for you. So I don't know what I got name, but it's just an author study of Marlon James's books. So
and you would say Marlon James is one of those people really. He is like a pillar in the Gothic genre.
In the Caribbean Gothic genre,
Caribbean
yes.
Gothic, yes.
To the extent that Marlon James is a global black writer, he isn't often spoken about in terms of what's Gothic about his writing, but that is one of the things that I would say is one of the things that I do in my work. And so his first two books are definitely Gothic novels, and I talk about, and I've published articles on how that is so, and the first one of the chapters in the book is also about that. But what I'd say about Marlon James is he is one of the most important contemporary black writers who happens to also be from the Caribbean.
Right. So, all right. So we realize that you're a big deal, even if you don't want to admit it yourself. But I saw we grow. St. Thomas, I saw we grow.
Humble.
Yeah, we're humble. But she's a big deal here. Okay, so what were some of the challenges do you think that maybe you have challenges in the space now as an academic? Let me start from there. What kind of challenges you face now as an academic as somebody, a person of color, a person from the Caribbean? Or that doesn't really affect you? What kind of what kind of challenges you have?
I don't really have much challenges right now, you know. But here's why. I don't have a lot of challenges right now because I am about to publish a second book. I've published a lot. I work in administration. There are ways in which, and I want to knock on wood, but some of the struggles are...
You can navigate them.
We can navigate them better, right? Me not really... if I see a roadblock, I know how to fix it.
You know
Okay.
how to pick
Yeah.
the struggle.
Yeah. I know how to decide whether or not me I go fight this battle or me I go step back from this battle, right? So me not really... I want to say since COVID, I don't really, and I think this is something that has happened to a lot of us, where we not batter up ourselves for too much something anymore.
No.
What is for what? right? Me just make sure I do what is my work. Me make sure me sit down in my relaxation and vacation clothes, right? You come and you take vacation and you relax and you do all of those things. And when you feel like struggle get too struggly, you pause.
Press pause.
Yeah, you just press pause and you go to something else and you figure out a solution so it not so struggly.
Right.
But you know, prior to that, like in early days, among the things that were difficult was I was an immigrant woman of color who worked in a predominantly white university up through the ranks of tenure. I was by myself. I had no cohort. I had nobody with me in the institution. There were like 3 other Caribbeanists. I worked in English. Another colleague worked in French, and another colleague worked in Spanish. And they threw away in 3 different departments. So it's not like you have a crew of people or a working group of people to work with. When I went to Missouri, I went by myself. And that was culture shock. You had to figure out how to navigate the Midwest. The Midwest is not Miami.
No.
Hell no.
No.
It's not.
No,
It's definitely not Miami.
No, it's not.
And so, you know, as you can't find a packet of cock soup for make some soup on a Saturday. Like, that's, I mean, you could take that euphemistically if you want to. But like stuff like that in the early days. No, you can't find it because we're 15 years into this place. But some of the struggles are struggles that people face across the board. People don't often listen to women of color, and even if they have accents, they don't listen to them. People often devalue their work because they call them affirmative action people, right? But I think I'm at a place professionally and personally where my field of fuck to give is fallow. I don't care. I don't care. I still have my publications. I still have my work, and I also have a really strong family life. Like, that's also very important. I have my family in Missouri and I have my family here. And if work is on fire and driving me crazy, like I have something to fall back on.
Your village is there.
Yeah.
Your village is there.
Yeah.
As an associate dean, and you hold a PhD, so you are a doctor.
Yeah.
Sheri Marie Harrison.
St. Thomas. Me alone, me ear.
I only St. Thomas me ear.
Big deal.
Yeah. So you work with graduate students, meaning studying masters.
Yeah, I work with both in the English department and in my job in the dean's office. I work with my portfolios are graduate studies and faculty success. So I work with graduate students and faculty from across the college to help them be successful in their teaching, in their research, in them life, right? So I do advise on theses for master's students and doctoral students. So I do that part of teaching, but I also provide more generalized support.
So like the teachers that work in your department, when you say success, teacher success, so if I'm a teacher and I work in your department and I'm just having a bad day, me can come talk to you about it?
Yeah. Well, not that when you're just having a bad day, like people who have challenges. So like recently I had to help one of my colleagues who is a director of graduate studies in one department. He was having challenges with graduate students, and a part of that challenge was one Jamaican graduate student was having a harder time. And so like I'll talk about how like I'm not in a place of struggle anymore, but you know, this woman is legitimately in a place where she was struggling because she is in a PhD program again at a predominantly white institution, and there is a way in which people expect you to make yourself small if you are not white, and we're a big deal. Jamaicans are a big deal. You can't tell any Jamaican to make yourself small. And she hasn't really had the experience of people wanting her to be small and wanting her to be quiet. And, you know, it was very frustrating for her. And I kind of had to help her navigate. Like, me not tell you if you make yourself small. Like, don't make anybody bully you, but understand that this is a thing that you're gonna face.
Okay.
And so what you need to do is you need to build up your coping mechanisms, and here is what you have to do to build that and plug into this community and do that. And so, you know, your question was if somebody who having a bad day can come and talk to me. I mean, it's personalized in those ways, but also like right now to me, I have to sit down and figure out what's going on in the program to make sure, say, it's hospitable for everybody.
Right.
And not just this Jamaican woman.
If you hear a little American voice in the background, that's her son. So,
He's watching Trolls.
and he's watching Netflix or some kids programming.
Yeah.
So if you hear that little voice in the background, that's it. All right. So, you know, Sheri's just passing through. This is the first episode. We want to thank her for just passing through and blessing up the space. St. Thomas she come from, so she has to be over here. So, so just to wrap up, Sheri, like, young man, young woman, or even not so young, who wants more for themselves, you know, what would you say to them?
I mean, there's always a logic of people saying, well, work hard and buckle down and do all of these things. But we don't live in a world necessarily that is meritocratic in those ways. And so what I would say...
Sorry, miss. For those of us listening and watching that don't know what meritocratic mean, what
right.
it mean, miss?
It mean like when you get rewarded for your efforts.
Okay.
The effort where you put in or where you take out back outside, right?
Okay.
It's not so the world set up. It really just, it's not like that. The world is set up in a way that you have to plug in to where the supports are. I went to UE and I was able to be successful at UE because there were scholarships available to pay for my tuition through my church, right? And I went to graduate school because I applied for scholarships and assistantship supports and those kind of things. So the advice that I have for anybody who is up and coming is to beat the pavement for where the resources are. Plug into community resources, church, school, ask questions about where I can find the help to do this kind of thing. Ask people who know how to do it and ask them how they did it, right? Sometimes you can beat the pavement and you can work hard and you can get 9 1s in a CXC and still stuck because nobody never tell you how to write the college application or whatever, right? So I'd say find your resources and plug into them.
You hear that?
Hear that?
Listen up.
Work
Work hard.
Work hard, but smart.
But smart. Like work. You still have to work. Like
Yeah.
you can't slide through, but you have to do it smarter.
Basically, do your research.
Yeah.
Do your research. If you have an
yourself with
interest,
the information,
if you have an
man.
interest in something, research. We're in the internet age now. Information is everywhere. Not everything is credible, but information is everywhere. So just
And reach out to people too. I mean, not everybody going to reply, but sometimes you have to you have to swallow your pride and your anxiety. Like you look out and you see somebody like I listen and voice of the people out in the world that do a podcast, and you want to figure out how to do a podcast too. Like DM them and say, hey, help me out.
shout to it.
Shout you, and not even help me out, but like how you do this.
Yeah, shout to it.
I was the kid in every single classroom when somebody say, you understand? If me never understand, this was me. No. Me don't understand. Me. Exactly. Like, don't ever be afraid to admit what you don't know because there's no way you're going to know otherwise.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Ask the questions.
But also,
I tell my students all the time, there's like, I have a stupid question. I'm like, there are no stupid questions. I mean, the question might be stupid, but if you don't know, you just don't know. So ask.
Yeah.
Ask me anything.
Yeah. And when you arm yourself with some information, don't keep it to yourself. Share it as well. Yeah. You know, pass it on.
Forward.
Yeah,
Pay
man,
forward.
share it.
Forward.
You know, let somebody else benefit from your knowledge as well. Okay? Sheri, again, thank you for passing through.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Yeah, man, big up
Good
yourself.
luck on the new season.
Yeah, man, we're about, you know, we're back.
Oh, and people, Dr.
Sheri Harrison.
Sheri Harrison is Allison's sister. I don't know why she failed to mention that part. She keeps skipping
Nepotism.
over.
She didn't want the people to know that it was nepotism while I'm on the show.
Allison threw me under the bus with the last diaspora person that we had. I make sure we return the favor.
Yes.
So yes, but
We're related.
Yeah, I'm a big sister. One of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I am the last of three.
She's a wash belly.
So Sheri is the middle one, and Lisa is the first one. I'm sure Lisa will pass through the show at some point as well. So you'll get to know who my other sibling is. But yes, Sheri is, believe it or not, we are related.
and that is another episode of
What is?
Father God. All right. Well, peace, love. Big up Sheri again. Harris in the background. Big up you. Until next time, big up on yourself.
Bye.
Bye-bye.